And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Fellas, what is going on, man? Another hot week, a lot of topics. I really enjoyed the freaking pre-production alone, man. That could if we could have recorded that, we would have had a whole freaking a whole podcast, just the different angles and the different things we took out of there. Yo, I want to give a big shout out to UCG. He's at my boy Keith Long's wedding. Congratulations, Keith Long. So he won't be here tonight with us. But as usual, I got my cast of characters. We renamed him. He used to be Petey Pablo. He is now Pablo El Schefter. This guy knows trades, freaking new pickups before anybody I know. He's posting them on our group chat even before it goes live on NFL Live. He's posting that shit. So that's Pablo El Schefter from now on. We got Javito, we got my man Dre, and we got the sports traveler, my man AK.
Yeah,
Yo, good to see you guys, bro. The stadium hopper. Yo, good to see you guys, man. How's everything going, bro? Everything good?
Good, man.
Can't complain, brother.
Great.
Can't complain.
All right, cool, man. Yo, so this week, they actually gave us a lot to talk about, man. They gave us a lot to talk about. And as usual, what did mainstream media do? Mainstream media glossed over some of the shit that we all saw that was blatant, that we paid attention to, and that we can't let slide, man. We cannot let it slide. What they wanted to do was concentrate on the taunting laws and the taunting rules. And we all kind of were like, bro, that's what you're gonna concentrate on? That's the topic you guys are hanging your hat on? Bro. But to a man, everybody recognized that the referees were really trying to play a big role in a lot of different games we've been watching. They've been really trying to stick their nose in. So I'm gonna leave it on Pablo to take off with the topic. Our topic today is refs too involved. And just to put it out there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You are at the Sports is My Love Language podcast, where we walk off the beaten path. We take the road less traveled. If it's in the mainstream media, best believe we're taking our own angle and attacking it. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Pablo El Schefter, let us know, man. What's going on? What's your angle on this whole? What have you seen?
I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, that taunting rule kind of triggered conversation, but it's been mostly about how people hate that taunting rule, and I don't disagree with it. But to the bigger point that we were trying to talk about is our referees in general, and whether it be football, basketball, any sports that all of us watch, soccer, whatever it may be. Do you think that they're trying to kind of insert themselves into the game to a certain degree? Do they want, does it seem like they want to be like the center of attention or be the subject of conversation? And looking at Tony Corrente the other night, right, against the Bears and Pittsburgh, it just looked blatant obvious that he was moving towards the guy, and at the same time he was ready to throw that flag. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that in an NFL game. It was egregious, right? And it was like he literally just moved a little bit to be in the way of the player of Marsh going back to his sideline. Maybe he was going to tag him, maybe he wasn't. Who knows? Like, we don't know if the bump is what tagged it or if he was just going to do it anyway. But then it had me thinking about other things a couple of years ago, the playoff games, those pass interference calls, right, against the Saints. Like there were blatantly pass interference calls that wouldn't, they're clear as day. If it was reviewable, you would review it and be like, no, this is pass interference. And it wasn't done. So I know Javi's kind of mentioned it, like, is there like an agenda? I'm not saying that there's like a conspiracy or an agenda, but it's like these referees, trying to be the ones to decide something very, very critical at the end of the game versus letting the players get out there. And it also had me thinking back from years ago, over years in the NBA, and we talked about it in pre-production, where some referees, at the same time, especially late in games, whether they make a call, a ticky-tack call late in the game, or they don't, or they swallow the whistle. And it's kind of gotten me thinking about like, okay, stuff is subjective, but good Lord, like, if you're just gonna leave it up to the individual, then it's gonna be whatever they wanted it to be, as opposed to maybe what is going on in the game. Or they're quick to tee up a player, when it doesn't look like they were saying anything to the ref directly, or yelling any profanity at the referee, or being in front of the referee's face or anything like that. It reminded me of, and I can't remember the NBA official, I mean, if you guys remember, the one that teed up Tim Duncan when he was just he wasn't even playing in the game. He was injured, and he all he did was laugh, and he got teed up, and then he got fined. Was it? Yeah, I can't remember. And that's like, or was it Crawford? I don't even remember.
I think it might have been Joey Crawford.
Right. It was Joey?
Yeah, it was Joey.
I thought it was Bavetta. Bavetta was like, known for that shit.
It's like, bro, like he laughed, and if you, I mean, we see Tim Duncan. It's not like he's a loud guy, you know. He was just
true, exactly.
Smirking. He's not allowed now, and he got teched. So it's like I think some of these.
Like if you're teaming up Tim Duncan, something is wrong.
Some of these guys, they want to be the star, and I think, because they want to be the star, they want to be the one to be in control outside of the boundaries of what their job is. I think they find that opportunity to be that center of attention. Intentionally or not, I don't know, but it just comes off that way to me.
It does come off that way, bro. It does feel like there's a hidden agenda. But what do you call it? Javito, what do you think about that? What are your thoughts? I know you had a lot of thoughts when we were talking about it.
I'll say, just being a conspiracy theorist when it comes to referees, I feel like they're always involved somehow because there's marketing behind all of this, right? With the NBA, with the MLB, NFL, soccer, like I've been one to basically, just hang out with a bunch of friends and be like, man, was that a handball in soccer or was that not a handball? And all of a sudden I'm just there like, I really don't know anymore. And it feels like it hit the hand. It looks like it hit the hand. Did you see it hit the hand? And they're like, yeah. So I was like, so why is it not a handball? And that's when you start triggering. All right, is there something else going on, right? So I remember, tonight Colombia plays. Big shout out to Colombia, man. We need this game.
Colombia.
But they were playing. I forget who it was. They might have been playing against Brazil, and they're gonna play Brazil tonight as well. But there was a handball that we all saw, and we're like, all right. They went to VAR, and the VAR said it's not a handball. So then you start thinking, all right, who's upstairs looking at these? And then all of a sudden you're there thinking it's Uruguayan nationality, right? And we're fighting with Uruguay to get a spot. So like all these conspiracies come through because we're like, yo, they didn't want to give us that penalty because they know they're fighting for that same spot that we're fighting for. So these are the things that, go through your head, and it goes through my head all the time. The NBA, forget about it. You know what I'm saying? I always felt like, that Draymond Green thing, that they got suspended him for that game. And I'm just there like, they need an extra game or two to make this go, Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. It's like things like that make you question it, that make you question it even more. Was that really necessary? So with that said, let's go back to that Chicago Steelers game, man. It just felt so blatant like that throughout the whole game. I mean, and then on top of that, you throw a hip check, it's like, like I'm just there like, I want to get in there and kill the referee myself. But, then I go to jail. But, all right. But pass it off to Dre on that one, though.
No, before we go up to Dre, we got a couple of comments in the comment section. Okay, Denise says they always want the final word and don't question their authority. This isn't anything new. It's not, bro. It's not. It's been a problem, but for some reason, I feel like with the taunting rules kind of highlighted, whatever, because now they have another avenue to kind of control the game. Facebook user, I don't know, it's on one of you guys' page. Are the refs getting paid by someone? They shouldn't be betting on games they control. Why else do it unless money is involved? That's part of that conspiracy theory that we are talking about.
That was one of our top fans, Jennifer Vega. I don't know why it's showing up as a Facebook user, but that was
why are you showing up as user? All right, Jen. Yeah, shout out to Jen. We'll be having her on soon. Yeah. What do you call it? For sure. Thank you, Jen. All right, let's go on. Dre, what do you got to say?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna be a conspiracy theorist on this one too. Refs been influencing games like ever since the beginning of time, but now it's the element of doubt that was there that you will be like, nah, they're not doing that. That's gone now. Like it's blatant now. You see it, and you can tell in baseball. One year the pitchers are doing great, next year the hitters are doing great. They're altering the ball, how the ball travels. Like The NBA doesn't want all the fouls. The game stops, so they take a bunch of stuff away.
That's a good point, bro. That new NBA law that initially everybody was like, yeah, people are going to stop flopping. I don't know if I'm all for it, bro. It kind of
not for it, bro, because it's like legal loopholes within the game are there to be exploited. And you can't blame a guy for figuring it out. Like, minus the traveling that James Harden does, he's a crafty offensive player. But now all of his stuff is gone because they don't allow that kind of stuff anymore. That's another story. Back to the refereeing. The refs, right now, even the NFL, the NBA, man, MLB, the umps, you see it. You see what's a strike in the second inning, and then you see that same pitch in the 8th inning, not called a strike. Or you see the zone extended for a certain guy, and then it closes back in. And then what the problem is that if they get called out and embarrassed, like by a manager or something, the manager's tossed. The coach is double teched. He's out the game. And this stuff doesn't get revisited. So for me, it's like the players are just going to have to figure it out, whether it's your night or it's not your night. Chris Paul with one referee squad. I don't know who's the referee, but one group of referees. Chris Paul has never won when this one
I saw that. Yeah.
That's nuts, bro. So you have to be able to tell that is some type of like and dislike stuff, and maybe it is with the money, and for the refs, they don't have to bet directly on the games that they're involved in. They could do it on behalf of other refs.
Yeah, that ref is Scott Foster.
Yeah, Scott Foster.
Scott Foster, right.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul has never won or something like that, right? When he was the head official.
It's funny you mentioned
Chris Paul's been in the league almost 20 years, bro.
Yeah, really quick, you touched the baseball, and I want to just reiterate that point is that section is always subjective, almost down to the individual home umpire.
That's a
and
fact.
And which lets you point is the moment you question it, like, why are you going to question me? Like, dude, because you're blind as a bat, you know? It's like what the hell is that? Nah, you're out of here. It's like stupid.
Yeah.
It's true. It's fucking crazy.
I'll jump in and say, first of all, I agree with Javi with a lot of stuff, but dude, if Draymond Green punches somebody in the nuts, he deserves to miss a game. Like, I know that changed the kind of you can argue it changed the whole entire dynamic of that series. They came back 3-1, but I thought that was warranted. You can't really have people going around kicking people in the nuts in a basketball game. In the
that was soft. AK, that was soft, man.
But he did it right, like, and it was the second time. If you remember,
I mean, he's known. He was known for that year, and I get it. But I'm just saying, it's like
it's a tough time to do it. I agree with you.
Yeah, I'm
you
just
don't
saying
do that, then, man.
It's 3-1.
The final.
You know, it's like, you know, it just kind of felt like, all right, let's get this going the other way now, so we have more games.
That's exactly what it was.
I mean, I think that's fair. You know, before I even go into my point, it actually made me think, like, first of all, I think refs are human beings. And every human being I've ever seen in positions of power, you're going to have some who take advantage of that, right? And so that is just kind of a human trait that has to be regulated somehow through the office when they're seeing things egregious. But I think they also will try, and if they're even having conversations, make sure that doesn't get out, because that's not a narrative they want. That you think about, like, the NBA had one of their biggest refs, Tim Donahue from Philly, as a matter of fact.
Tim Donahue,
literally in prison. He's in prison because he changed championships.
Yeah, he changed games.
Let's be honest. Like, he literally got caught meddling with finals games and playoff games. So
those people from Philly, man, I'm telling you.
So
brother, love my ass. No.
I think that part of it is tough. I think it's human. And before I go into like some interesting kind of metrics, I'll say this. It actually made me think of, like, you guys brought it up. There's no sport that's probably more kind of subjective than baseball. Can you imagine when they started letting Black and Hispanic players in, what strikes and balls probably looked at like for them? And then you think
that must have been crazy. Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. I know I saw something about Jackie Robinson. Yeah.
And how much of your history in baseball is actually determined upon your stats, right? Like, so that's a pretty crazy kind of thing to think about, and from the pitcher's perspective too, like the Black and brown pitchers too. So, you know, I think it's just something I thought of that's actually pretty crazy. So you're not actually getting probably what these guys a lot of them could have really kind of monstrously done.
You got a shot at say "Bravo Colombia."
Yeah.
Vamos Colombia. Go ahead. My bad.
That's my family there, right there, though. That's my friend. Shout out to Bruce. Shout out to Brandon.
So check this out. Last year, 10 it says, taunting penalties for 119 yards. This year, already you're at 27 for 359 after 9 games.
And a lot of those came in the first few weeks, and then it kind of quieted off.
It died off
until this thing popped up again on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see how
this is ugly, man. This is definitely ugly, bro. I don't like it.
I'm going off reference.com. None of us like it, but it's interesting what Dre said. I agree completely. Like the leagues are kind of going in different directions. Like you look at NFL and NBA because NBA actually really letting them play, and I personally like it. Like it's a little bit more old school, but it makes these guys are going to stop doing some of that stuff more and more. The more it's just not efficient, and it's obviously hurt James Harden tremendously, right? That guy,
he's probably the most effective player in the league.
In the whole,
because that was part of his repertoire.
Damian Lillard as well. Damian Lillard's not looking good at all.
No, I read that
he's getting fined almost every night from complaining about the refs in the press conferences.
He's either
$25,000 fine immediately. As soon as you say anything bad about the refs, that's cha-ching minus $25K, and he's doing it on a nightly basis.
Yeah. He's only getting that $450,000 check for the game instead of
$475.
But I'm going to take this off topic quick second. I want you guys to look at this too. I read an article that said Lillard had sports hernia this summer, chose not to do the surgery, and you'll never get the explosiveness that you had unless you actually do the surgery.
Right.
But the surgery is actually a little bit risky, and so the average person wouldn't do it, but a professional athlete almost needs to, which is something really interesting to watch because they are going to move Dame Lillard, if not by the trade deadline, by the end of the year. They have to. There's no hope for that team. And there's no.
Do you think he's a fix for the Knicks? You think he's still good? I know last year I was
any team in the league that doesn't have Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Say again.
He's a monster.
I mean, he's a top 3 or 4 point guard in the league undisputedly. Like he's an upgrade over almost anybody.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what's going on with Kemba Walker. He looks very, very slow right now. He's not looking that good. He's looking it looks like those knees are really catching up to him because I don't see that explosiveness from him.
I don't see that explosiveness. As a matter of fact, I kind of feel more comfortable when
Derrick Rose is on the
second team. Yeah, when Derrick Rose is running the ball, like he's still got that pop, yo.
He went to high school with KRS-One. They're both still good, but you can't expect what you've seen from them 20 years ago.
He's old. Trying to say he's old. He lost his step.
That's my take on the refs. I think it's always going to be a point of contention, and as long as there's human beings involved, there's going to be directives from the top, and there's going to be emotion involved, and that's my take.
Mike, one real quick before you go, Mike. I just want to say, and I heard stories about just researching the King Richard movie that's coming out about Venus and Serena's dad.
Will Smith.
He used to complain all the time that they would call out before replay and stuff in tennis. They would just call out on Venus and Serena, bro, and the ball was like clearly in. And he would lose his temper and then realize that they were just trying to kick him out so that the girls would be alone so that they would lose. So he
even back then, look at that shit, bro. Even back then, what do you call it? So, okay, I think you guys pretty much hit everything from conspiracies to how they affect the game. That angle is covered, bro. You know who my beef is with? The fucking media, bro. I think the media has done a shitty job of highlighting, especially what we saw the other night with Chicago. They kind of have glossed over it. I saw one segment. I saw one real segment where they went at the refs. And I think that just goes to show how the NFL protects the brand.
Right.
So they kind of tell them, hey, you want inside scoop, you better get disciplined and not attack us. You know what I mean? So it doesn't just apply to the players. You know, I thought that was what I did like was how Ryan Clark broke it down. He was like, yo, what the hell? Like, yo, what's going on? But I don't think overall the media has done their job And here's the thing: these fucking referees are part-time employees.
Right.
They're judges, lawyers. They're not full-time employees. Number one. So they don't have. I don't care what they try to push on us. They don't have the level of training, of year-round training, and full accountability.
Yep.
They basically monitor themselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have other refs monitoring them to tell you how you did, how you didn't do, da 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 da. And you think you're getting justice, and in reality, if they're all in bed together to highlight the flagship players or the flagship teams of the NFL, then I'm like, what? Nah, man, this can't be right. And I don't think the media is doing their job. They should really be probing and really digging deep to find out, especially now as we see how much they're influencing the game.
They won't.
Okay, cool. They threw out that little they gave us that little crumb. Yeah, we're emphasizing it. We're emphasizing this year. We're emphasizing that this year. We need accountability, independent accountability for refs. And I can say that across the board for all sports. Yeah. But, I'm going to concentrate on football because football is the one that's, what do you call it? Yeah, Jen says there's no oversight for the officials. No one is there to hold them. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make.
It's there, but they're just not doing it.
No, it's there, but they're monitoring. They're basically monitoring themselves.
They're turning the other cheek. Yeah. No. Yeah.
It's like me and Pablo are on a diet, and we're going to trust each other. Yeah. All right. I'm going to freaking Incredibles and swallowing a pie. You know what I'm saying? So come on, is it really going to work?
See, now no. We have to go this weekend just because you mentioned it.
Let's do this. But that's what I'm trying to say. So I think, and the media normally, if in a perfect world, the media is the one that kind of puts that pressure to hold them accountable. Yeah, and we saw that. That was egregious. So there's calls. Look, I'll forgive calls that are marginal. I forgive calls that are borderline. I forgive a lot. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I say to myself, sometimes it goes for my team, sometimes it doesn't. And I kind of let it slide that way.
Right.
But there's certain things that have been fucking egregious.
They won't do it.
That guy put his hip out.
Yeah.
Put his hip out. Who's there to protect the player? Like, okay, that was subtle. Let's say it's a little more, you know what I mean? Now, God forbid the player bumps him off, like, what are you doing? No, that can't happen. But these referees are working with immunity, and they're basically going in any direction that they want, and nobody is, especially not the media, is holding them accountable. All we can hear about that night is, this rule, I don't like this rule. Let me tell you something, bro. That rule, for me, is taking second fiddle to any time a referee purposely tries to interfere in a game. Like, that to me is way more serious. You know what I mean? And then it brings me to the conspiracies, and it's like, what was the money line on that game? What was the spread? And I start to think like that, and I start to kind of, and I've been going back to other games just to see, whenever there was, I remember there was a bad call. It might have been, it was a close game with the Packers. It might have been the Packers or whatever. And I was like, that pass interference. Let me see what was the money line. And as you go back, sometimes it hits, sometimes it affects it, sometimes it doesn't. But you're like, holy shit. Who was it that went for
Jets versus Bengal games? I felt like that shit was basically right at the end.
Yeah, you can't say that.
I felt it. I was like, it just felt obvious that they were just basically making it harder for the Bengals to even do anything.
That's true.
I'm not saying that, the Jets weren't in the game, but it just felt like towards the end, it just felt like the Bengals were just basically getting the shit on the stick, there
was nothing they could do. There was nothing they could do to win that game. But we were going to make sure that you at least lost the game. You know what I'm saying? It gets here. But my main point, my main take on the whole situation is I don't feel, and that's why I feel like our podcast is so important, because we need to at least put the thought out there that they're not doing their job. We need to hold and have the conversation that these refs need to be held accountable. They need to be put out there. Let's start a rumble.
Yeah, and
what do we? Go ahead, somebody read that.
Yeah, so Brew is saying, and he's right. It's hard to be a referee in any sport, and you can't hold them accountable on the spot. It will delay everything. Replays there to help not to be the official referee. And you're right, that may be the case. But to Mike's point earlier, is there's no accountability. There's no assessment after the
game. Who's grading them
and saying, this should have been. You only hear it every once in a while. Yeah, that was a bad call. That was, that shouldn't have been done.
Half
So
the
on and so
time, the
forth.
replay is wrong. In the NFL, when they have reviews and they bring in their resident referee, he politics and stalls so that he doesn't give the wrong call because even he's not sure what they're going to come back and say from the review. Peep that. Moving forward, they never just come out and say definitively this is going to be this. They're like, well, it appears that.
And really, the only time, and we talked about it in pre-production the other day. The only time that you've heard any semblance of reward or punishment for recruit, from what I've seen at least, is in the NFL, because we talked about it. They want to only assign the best crews to the playoff games, and the best crew to the Super Bowl, and the only way they can do that is to see, okay, how many calls did you really F up? Now, are they making it transparent to the public? No, it's still internal, because obviously those guys get bonuses or whatever the payout is, to get those games, and then the best crew gets the Super Bowl, right? But other than that, I've never really heard it. And to your other point, really quick, Mike, in terms of the media, ESPN will not be it because they may be the media, but they're the NFL and the NBA and whatever sites partner. They're not. So as long as they're a partner, they're not gonna they
don't want to mess up the bag.
They're not gonna go at it hard enough.
You'll get a couple of guys, hey, that's BS, blah 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 blah, like we saw with Ryan Clark on the taunting, but Ryan Clark alone is not gonna be able to get the NFL to say,
no. It's basically glossed over. That's my issue. Yeah. My issue is not the taunt. It's the fact that it was so blatantly glossed over. They rather talk about a game loss or this or that, and I'm like, this is important. This affects the result of the game. But with that, guys, we're going to move on.
Really quick, Mike, remember that they also had replacement refs, and it was a complete disaster.
Oh, that was
gives them a little bit more confidence, right?
Terrible. That was terrible. So I think a big topic, right? Whenever we compare players of yesteryear and today, right? I'm a believer. This is my thought. I'm a believer that players of today damn near have to be perfect. Not even on the court, off the court, because of the court of public opinion and how they're being judged. And back in the day, a player could be whoever he was in his personal life, whether it's Mickey Mantle that was an alcoholic, whether it was LT snorting cocaine, whoever it was. But because we didn't see them, they weren't in our face, and there wasn't a camera picking up every move that they had, they kind of got away with it. And basically the news only reported what they saw on the field and then a nice little piece about them. And my question to you is, social media and sports stars of the past, do you think they would have survived? Because we always talk about sports guys this year. Now they're weak, they're soft. But in my opinion, they may be soft, but we never saw whether Michael Jordan can handle that level of spotlight. And we know the type of life he lived behind the camera. So I'm interested in hear your opinion. PD, Pablo L. Schefter, what do you guys say about that?
Well, it's a good segue because I'm going to start with the very athlete that you just mentioned, Michael Jordan, because he's been on record to say that he probably could have not been able to handle social media today. Because like you said, he's playing golf, but he's gambling while playing golf literally per shot, probably. And all the other stuff. There's regular gambling, in casinos and other with him and Charles Barkley, and who knows whatever else. And the other thing is that maybe if you guys have noticed it too, in the past before social media, even though the media then was supposed to be the ones to hold accountable, that they kept their mouth shut with a lot of things, right? It was like on the record, off the record type things, those little hey, don't say anything about this. They would know certain things and didn't do it. The problem with social media is that it's not really those journalists that are exposing things. It's an everyday person with a phone camera. They're not in the wink, wink, nudge, nudge agreement with those athletes like it could have been in the past. So that's one piece of it. And then to the other part is you're right, like you mentioned it. Today's athletes are just emotionally, mentally, whatever you want to call it, not made from the same cloth as past athletes, I think. And but at the same time, you expose yourself by having an account and interacting with people. It's a double-edged sword. You want to build your brand on your own without the need of regular media to get your brand out there, but you got to deal with you got to filter out the trolls, you got to filter out the keyboard warriors, Then you got people that are really get death threats because you dropped the pass or something like that. But that's where they kind of get mentally weak. And I just think certain athletes in the past wouldn't have been able to handle it. Jordan already said it. I don't think my one of my favorite players of all time, LT, probably wouldn't have been able to handle it.
I think he would have just smoked the crack just to get over it.
And a lot of these old school players also would have been, by default, would have been like, tell anybody and their mother, shut the fuck up, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Even that today will get you a viral clip, be like, hey, look who they're telling me to F off. So I just don't think a lot of them would have been able to handle it. Some of them would have not gotten an account at all, wouldn't have given two shits about having a social media account and wouldn't care. But that wouldn't prevent whatever they do off the field, or off the court. And I would think actually a lot of them wouldn't do a lot of the shit that they would have done. I think a lot of the older generations athletes would have been smart enough to just, chill back or make it a more discreet, more private, as possible with, whatever endeavors they were doing that when today's society would view as, oh, look what this guy's doing,
Yeah.
and put them on blast. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I just think social media is just too powerful. And
we got a couple of really good examples that Jen put up. Let me see here. She talks about Joe Namath wouldn't have survived with his womanizing ways. There's no way he would have survived. Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa would have never lived that era with the steroids and all that shit. They would have never gotten past that. Somebody would have caught them with a needle in their ass at some point. Darryl Strawberry and Doc Gooden. Woo! That 86 Mets. Let's just put the 86 Mets. Would have probably had a really tough time between social media and the drugs. I don't think either of them would have survived the pressure, in all honesty. I don't think so either, Jen.
But what would be different from Joe Namath and say Derek Jeter? Like Derek Jeter had a different chick every day, but because he wasn't married, he was a legend for it. Like as long as you weren't married, people still will give you props for having different beautiful women all the time, as long as you're not married.
But would he?
I think that one's more forgivable.
Yeah, but the social media wasn't active then either for him. So we don't.
Look, he came towards the end, but social media is more now. It existed 4 or 5 years ago. Certainly, cell phone videos existed, and whenever he had a new chick, people were like, "Oh, that's great! Look at Derek Jeter, he's a player."
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, he does have a pretty sweet list.
It's a valid point because it might be the celebrity treatment, right?
Nothing would have happened to Tiger Woods if he wasn't married. He could have had 50 girls. If he wasn't married, it would have been no story at all.
Yes.
Well, him crashing into the.
That's because he was married.
No, because he was married and he was probably kicked out the fucking house.
And he was basically like freaking on so many freaking Ambien and all that stuff.
Yeah, he had a cocktail there before.
So there was other things involved.
I think that's an area that really would have been covered up. You're gonna tell me Mickey Mantle was a damn near alcoholic. He wasn't damn near. He was an alcoholic, blazing alcoholic. Yo, you know how many DUIs and DWIs were covered up for him coming up? You know what I'm saying? Like there's players, that kind of thing, the driving drunk. Oh, don't worry about it. We'll just put you in our car type of thing. Those guys, oh Lord, bro. There's probably a ton of that. There was probably a ton of that. Driving, remember, that's before the car services. So these linemen banging beers at basketball games and then driving home. A lot of that was prevalent, man. And then you had the blatant steroid users. That like Lyle Alzado, come on, you don't think Lyle Alzado would have gotten fucking picked apart? You know what I'm saying? Like crazy shit. Think about some players that did some, like Bill Romanowski spitting at somebody. He would have gotten destroyed. But there's a lot of things that I think the lack of the not having social media around lets slide. You know what I'm saying? There's definitely a lot of stuff, bro.
And the difficult part of it is that it could be just someone recording it and putting it up there, not even saying this is good or bad. But not everyone sees it, and then you're gonna have some say, "Oh yeah, cool." Another one's gonna say, "Oh, this is
court of public opinion." Yeah,
I mean, I would say at least 30% of the NBA smokes weed daily. There's not videos of those dudes hitting their blunts because, like, there's still. I think people generally, those guys are still partying. They're having fun. They're doing the drugs. Maybe not at the same percent, but there's a lot of them that are doing it. They're just being a little more careful, and the people
a little more discreet. Testing is different. Yeah.
I think the biggest difference is they can go online and read comments about themselves.
And
Like,
that's where it
that
comes
is a
into
huge
yeah.
difference. Like,
Yeah,
You
that's
know
where
what
it
I
comes
think the
into how they
biggest
handle it.
difference is that you guys didn't mention yet?
Sure.
Listen to Charles Barkley about the discrepancy in the salaries.
It's terrible.
The salary of a player that played in the 80s that would not give a fuck about what social media had to say because the bread wasn't the same. What was to lose? Charles Barkley was able to say things into a live camera like, I am not a role model.
True.
And now, years later, be kind of like forgiven for being a crazy person all throughout his end. Charles Barkley did some stuff, even at the Olympics. He elbowed the Nigerian guy. He made up a whole story saying the guy hit him first. They slowed down the video. The guy never touched Charles.
Yeah, no, of course. But
So
again,
like, for me, it's like the salaries, and Mike said the court of public opinion. The fact that everybody's a judge now, makes guys. But I feel like with like salary and like with social media, that means that money and all of that stuff would have been more. Even those guys, most of those guys didn't make $1 million a year in the NBA back in the day. Now I think the veterans minimum is like $2.8 million.
I got a question for you guys. Let's do a quick route. We're gonna get back to the subject, but I'm really interested to see if we could do this. Let's do a quick round robin of players that would have, or people, right, back in the day that would have been fucked if they were social media. Players, athletes that would have been fucked if there was social media back in the day. Let's start. I'll start. I'm gonna start. Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson and 90% of the boxers that were alive would have. Yo, imagine his life. Who knows? Maybe it could have saved him too. But a lot of it, when he talks about, there's nothing more crazier. I don't think anybody's ever led a crazier life than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson said some shit the other day. He was like, when I used to get out of the airport, and I used to come, just get out of the airport to get into the car. As soon as I got off the plane, I'd be walking up the ramp, and some stewardess would just grab me, throw me in a room, not talk to me, and just have sex with me, and just throw me out of the room when she was done. I was like, what? He goes, yeah, man, it happened all the time. Women thought I was a piece of meat. They would literally just grab me and throw me right in, have sex with me, not even talk to me. He's like, I've had more sex with women that I don't know their name than with women I actually know their name. And here's the crazy part. He did not rule out in his coke benders, just like Maradona. He didn't rule out possibly having sex with men during those times. That's how wild it was for him. He was like, I just, basically I put it in any hole. I didn't care. I didn't care. We got a couple of suggestions here. We got Michael Jordan. Yeah, that's a good one always. Yeah. Lawrence Taylor. Oh, yeah, those are the top ones right there. The 86 Mets, we said that. Babe Ruth. Oh, my God. Imagine social media for Babe Ruth.
I think Babe Ruth would have hit somebody with a bat.
Magic Johnson. Ooh, Magic
Johnson. I was going to say Magic Johnson.
Magic, holy shit.
I was thinking Sean Kemp, considering his.
I was going to say Reggie Jackson.
Yeah, he was another one that was wild.
Yeah.
I would like to have seen social media around what do you call it, Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle's somebody who I would like to have seen because he had major issues, bro. Major issues. You know what I'm saying? I would love to have watched him, follow him, have him picking him up off the floor, taking him back to washing him off because he has a fucking double header the next day and he smells like freaking gin. You know what I mean? Shit like that.
I got a good one. The Miami Hurricane teams of the past.
Yeah, bro. The 80s. Oh my God. Maradona, Diego Maradona. Yo, that motherfucker was legendary and the wild shit he was doing. Yeah. Oh my God, Maradona. A lot of soccer players.
You know who and he was on the cusp of almost getting into the social media. Barry Bonds. I think he would have been basically one of those guys that wouldn't have been able to tolerate social media because you could just tell, even the allegations of steroids were basically killing him inside, you know? So just imagine social media just attacking him every single day. Like, yeah, your people still say your record doesn't really still stand because of the steroids, you know? So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not too sure if he would basically be as great as he was, because he was a great baseball player. Let's just put that out there. You know what I'm saying? And prior to the allegation, that guy was the shit, but there was always something like mentally, like, you know, like it felt like as great as he was, there was still that little mental weakness with him. Like anything could just basically get him going the wrong way, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, but the wrong way.
Yeah, we got Dennis Rodman. Yeah, Dennis Rodman.
He would have survived.
Man, listen.
He would have survived.
Yeah, because he didn't give a fuck. I don't think he just. I don't think he gave enough of a fuck.
I think he would have just been great. He would have been fine with social media. I mean, come on.
You know,
he's actually introverted.
I think to some extent there's an opposite thing happening too now, right? Like said Charles Barkley, for example. I think right now he would have been fine because he would have just been like, you know, F the woke mob and I'm gonna say what I want, and people, as long as you don't do something criminal, like as long as you're not doing something that's legit hurting somebody and you're just speaking your mind that people are too soft and people, because that's what he used to do basically, right? Like I think he actually something like that would have an aspect of society and sports fans that would actually back him up, because there's so many people who think it's too soft right now. So I think it does also go both ways for sure.
I also think that there's players that flew under the radar that could have used a social media push. Like there's a lot before, you wouldn't hear a lot about small market players that were phenomenal. Their numbers were top in the league, whatever league they were in, or even boxers, where they were from parts. Yeah, they were parts of the country that you just, you know, you don't really acknowledge that much, and they were killing it. And because they were in those markets, and I think now social media highlights them. You know what I'm saying? They puts a flash. So there's a double-edged sword. I think there are definitely some players that would have taken advantage of social media for the positive. It would have showed you another side of them. Like there's players like that were a little bit standoffish to the media, right? A little bit standoffish. I'm thinking he probably was out like during a little bit of social media. But let's think of like a James Harrison from the Steelers. You know, he comes up like a real asshole, like when he's talking to the media. But then you see him on other stuff, and he's like, yo, he's got a personality, bro. He's charming. He's fucking interesting. He's an interesting guy. Marshawn, look at Marshawn Lynch. He fucking navigates that shit beautifully. Look at there's just a lot of players. In baseball, I can just imagine. In basketball, more so in football, because in football, they highlight the brand, they don't really highlight the players. So there's a lot of you pretty much are left to do a lot of your marketing on your own if you're not one of the flagship guys in the league. You know what I'm saying? Hank Aaron, yeah, Gerard Loder, Hank Aaron would have been a good one. You know, even those early guys that first broke into the league, imagine what their social media would have looked like. Do you think they would have, like a Jackie Robinson or, you know, one of those early guys, do you think they would have benefited or social media would have hurt them?
I mean, as someone like that, you know, because we don't know anything about their off the field activity. So if you just make the assumption that they were just a regular person that are very talented, I think it would have helped them for sure. Or even to
kind of highlight some of the shit they've been through.
Or to
he wouldn't have been the first one if he wasn't fairly squeaky clean. Like nobody's squeaky clean, but you know.
He was handpicked. He was definitely handpicked. Yeah. Like you're this type of. That's what we want.
Or to Jennifer's comment before that is for female athletes might have gotten more light, you know, back then. Sure. You know, so
yeah, I would have liked to know who they were sleeping around with. Like if they were doing the same thing men were doing. You know what I'm saying? Like if they were out there selling coochie left and right, we kind of give them a pass when it comes to like the drama and the bullshit. Yeah, I would like to know if Mary Lou Retton was out there just slinging it at the Olympic Village. You feel me?
You know what's funny? How about this? When you think about it, how much crazy stuff do you think happens in like WNBA locker rooms and such like that, and we don't hear about it?
Yeah.
Today with social media, they dating each other, they doing this. Like not all of them, of course, but there's a lot of course.
Man, you don't even hear about the games.
Yeah, true. They're not superstars.
It's we talked about that already, and I'm just there like wondering, you know, maybe that's what they need. You know what I'm saying? Talk about their personal lives a little bit more. You know, Sue Bird.
Open up. Let us see the personality behind
dating the soccer girl. You know what I'm saying? Things like that might interest people. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But it's just the WNBA is just not going to get any play until there's just a better marketing scheme behind it. You know.
Right.
Because I'm gonna say it right now, I think Candace Parker is one of the most beautiful people in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just there like, you could use that girl. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I understand. We don't want to basically make women look material, like, just like a possession one. But
we don't want to sexualize them.
Yeah. But at the same time, when you have a face like that's model-esque, you know what I'm saying? Use that to your advantage for the league as well. They got to do it, man. I don't know, man. It's just. I'm willing to see Candace Parker a bit more.
The Olympic Village has always been one big orgy. You're damn right. You're right. You're so right.
I'm sure that happened in Brazil.
Oh Lord. I want to bring it back just so we have time to give her our predictions. But before that, this is a topic, yo. I'm putting my hands up, man, because I know this is spicy as fuck. I mentioned it to my stepfather, right? And he was like, "What? No, there's no way. No. He's a big soccer fan. He was completely offended about the fact that we suggested that Messi is a system player. So the question is, the topic of the day is, here we go. This is the hot take. Hot take of the day. My man Dre and Javito, what do you call it? Putting it out there, is our boy Messi a system player? Is he a system player?
Dre, you want to go first, or do you want me to take it off?
Go ahead, brother.
All right, man. First off, I'll just say Messi is one of the greatest soccer players ever to basically play the game. Okay, but Barcelona made Messi. I don't think Messi made Barcelona.
Excuse the typo. I put system and player together. I thought I had separated it.
The tiki-taka wasn't Messi. You know what I'm saying? It was basically the Spanish players that were already on the team, because they took tiki-taka to the country level as well. We're talking about Xavi. We're talking about Andres Iniesta, David Villa. You know what I'm saying? All these guys that were on Barcelona, Busquets, they came with the tiki-taka, and Messi benefited from it. All right? All his championships were basically, the ones that he basically really partaked in the 3 Champions League. You know who was there? Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. And you know who wasn't there when Ronaldinho was the one on Barcelona doing the tiki-taka? Messi wasn't playing at that time. You know who was? Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets. So here I go is what I'm saying. When you take Messi off of Barcelona, it feels like when he goes to Argentina, it's just not the same rhythm. It feels like, he struggles a bit more, especially when it's primetime games. You know what I'm saying? You could go to each and every single final that he played with Argentina, and I know a lot of Messi fans will be like, he's the reason why they went to finals. And I always say, well, the game before that, he didn't score a goal. So I'm not too sure what you're telling me right now, because I've seen Higuain score goals to get them to the next round. I've seen basically the new guy right now, Lautaro, score goals. As a matter of fact, the guy that scored the winning goal for Copa America final, his name is Angel Di Maria. All right, his name.
That guy's a beast. I know I am.
All right, and that guy's a great soccer player too. I always said that boy could ball, and I always said if Di Maria could stay on the field, because he was always injury prone, Argentina has a chance. Once he was off the field, you just saw like there was nothing. Like it just felt like there was nothing flowing. So I will say that Barcelona made Messi look that much better, because when you put him on a team, like right now, you see him on PSG, he's struggling. Still early. He's not playing right now. He's injured. But you see that Barcelona was basically his ticket. And if you really want to talk about how much Barcelona made Messi, let's talk about those HGH that they would basically inject him through his teen years so he can grow. All right? Everybody knows you take HGH, you know what I'm saying? You become a little bit stronger. You could take those injuries a little bit faster. All right? So with that, I'm just going to pass it off to Dre and see what you think, Dre.
Man, I don't know whether to help this guy or whether to just continue. I think I'm gonna try to help him out a little bit. So I'm gonna try to help him out in the fact that soccer is a support game, even as a great individual player. So the supporting casts of the Argentinian national team, and the team that he's on now, brand new, but a bunch of individuals, and not really like you said, tiki-taka means close 1-2 touches in soccer. That's what they call it in Spanish. That means like me and Pablo are right here, 1-2, 1-2, so the other team can't even really keep up. And the Spain nationals who really took that to a different level were the elders that he came up under in that Barcelona system. So I smiled when Javi said Barcelona made Messi, because without that system, he probably would have been just like a really good one-on-one player within a specific system, and not one that could do so many dynamic things. But because of the system that was set up around him, man, he had like the super duper hydroponic lights on a timer and everything. He had the shit set up, Pablo. That's why the flower came out so nice. And with me, I feel like he's one of my top 5 greatest players of all time. And for me, for the shit that he's been able to do. But is he a system player? Yeah, he's a fucking system player. Because
okay, but my question to you guys, real quick, I'm gonna let you talk. My bad, Jerry. My question to you is, okay, when you guys say system player,
right?
Is he Joe Flacco leading the Ravens?
No.
Or is he Lamar Jackson leading the Ravens?
No.
So both of them are system, but one dominates the system.
A quarterback, one player in a soccer game can never dominate a game as much as a quarterback has control in a football game.
Right.
It's not even close. One player in a soccer game affects the game 12 to 15% of the game at most, regardless of how great he is. So quarterback affects at least 50% of a football game.
Vic says he's Tom Brady, no more Tom Brady than he is. So he's like a really good guy.
He is. He's like a really, really great player, but made greater by what he came up into. For club, not for country, because for country, they don't have the same caliber of players that they had as a collective at his club, Barcelona in Spain. The one that he came up on in the youth system and really developed his skills into being the player that he eventually turned out to be. Now,
but I'll say this about Argentina: they didn't have scrubs. You know what I'm saying?
They don't have scrubs.
They didn't have scrubs. That's why I always felt like, you have the team to win these championships. And he kept on, not he, but Argentina kept on losing to Chile. You know what I'm saying?
The system.
Yeah, and that's why I'm just saying, like, he was so used to this Barcelona system that you take him out of it, he struggles. And so does everybody.
Argentina would never play the 3 defenders required for the 5 midfielders that he requires for him to look the way that he looks.
So they play what? More defensive?
You know what I'm saying? Argentina starts 5 defenders.
Yeah,
and
they're way more
disguises one as a defensive midfielder.
Correct.
So it's a big difference. Barcelona's like, we're playing 3 in the back. Our other 2 wing backs are basically midfielders. They're all the way up at your corner flag if you give them a chance.
So my question to you guys is,
they were defensive players, but they were more offensive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Danny Alves
and Jordi Alba. You know
exactly. They're gone, bro.
They're up. They're more up there than they are back.
Exactly. So
go ahead, Mike.
So my question to you is, you guys touched on it. Is Ronaldo a more interchangeable player that you can put him in different scenarios than Messi?
Because Ronaldo is simply a striker, I would say yes.
And he's proven that.
but Ronaldo affects the game by finishing chances.
Mm.
Messi is a creator / finisher.
Correct.
It's a difference in their styles. That's why I
Equate them. So like for us that can't really I can't really wrap my hand. I like soccer, but I can't really wrap my mind around. If these guys were NBA players,
right?
Who would Messi most resemble? Who would, what do you call it? Ronaldo most resemble?
Ronaldo would most resemble James Harden.
Not Kevin Durant.
No.
Why?
Or not Steph Curry.
Because Ronaldo as a striker, if you want him to be his best, he's gonna have to be mad if his co-striker gets he has to be locked in as to where he looks arrogant. And people often mistake him for being an arrogant guy. He loves his teammates. But if his teammate scores before him, Mike, he may not run to celebrate because he's pissed that it wasn't him.
It sounds like
that's the Ronaldo you want.
So now
that's the Ronaldo you want.
I'm gonna bring my opinion on that. I feel like Cristiano Ronaldo is more Michael Jordan and Lionel Messi is more LeBron James.
I was gonna say Messi is LeBron. Yeah, Messi is LeBron. Messi makes guys better, bro. He makes guys get millions of dollars, just like LeBron got Tristan Thompson a Kardashian.
For real.
You put it together, bro. LeBron got him that Kardashian, bro.
That makes sense. Yo, that makes a lot of sense. Holy shit!
And
wow,
Tristan
bro.
Thompson ain't been the same since.
Holy shit! Oh, yo, I find this fucking conversation.
Messi is the LeBron, and Cristiano to me is the most in the zone, selfish player that I want on my team because I understand what it takes to get to that point, to lock in like that, to score the chances, the half chances that he gets, to go up with two defenders and somehow find a way to get a little corner of your head in there. That's the type of shit he needs to be on. He needs to be basically on the edge all game. Messi will play and set somebody else up. No problem. Cristiano's not setting anybody up, bro.
No.
That's fucking awesome. Bro, let me tell you something. I find this whole soccer talk fascinating, and the way I kind of relate to it is trying to just, because I do watch a little bit, especially during the World Cup. I'm that guy that I start commenting 100 times about shit I have no idea about, and I'll be throwing out cliches. Oh, the team that wants it more. Oh, you know what they needed? They needed some heart. I just start throwing out pure cliches. I don't know what the fuck I'm watching, but that shit's fascinating, bro. I love it. Guys, we're gonna move on to our prediction, our Thursday night predictions. The game's starting any minute now. It's our boy Lamar Jackson, which I wish Uzi was around.
That's why he stayed off.
That's why he
didn't want to give a Lamar prediction. He stayed off the podcast.
He didn't want to be forced to pick Lamar winning.
His head would fucking explode. All right, so your Thursday night prediction. We got at home Miami. What do you call it, against the Baltimore Ravens and your boy Lamar Jackson. Pablo, what do you got? Pablo L. Schefter.
So the Ravens are 7.5-point favorites. I think they're gonna go over. I think they're gonna beat them 30-20.
So they cover.
Yeah, so they cover.
30-20.
Miami's just like whatever,
they're on an awkward rebuild, man. That team right there had potential. I don't know where they went wrong.
I think last year, in certain aspects, they were a little more overachieving, a little bit more.
Yeah, their defense was just creating turnovers. It felt like the Cowboys, how they started this year. That's what the Dolphins were like on a mini mid run during the middle of the season with their defense.
Yeah, and I think the volatility.
So what do you got?
The volatility of Fitzpatrick last year, good or bad, I think was also some of those wins.
True. Yeah. He fits magic. Javito, what you got? What's your score for tonight?
I got the Ravens 29.
Come on, man, with the fucking 29.
He always gave it 29. 29. He always gave it 29.
Every week.
29-20, baby. Ravens. Lamar Jackson, baby. Today he rushes for a rushing touchdown.
Big trust.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely. Dre, what you got?
Hold up, Dre. Hold up. And
Yeah.
we got to give a shout out to UCG. All right, on the fact that he did say that ODB would be going to the Rams. So shout out to UCG.
Oh, there
Yeah, he did call that. He did call that.
Don't
You
twist
said
your
ODB?
ankle doing the electric slide, brother.
Did you just say the
He did
Rams
call
signed
it.
that Rams bastard?
ODB.
Because
He called OBJ. OBD. Shimmy, y'all. Shimmy, y'all.
Word.
My bad.
Shimmy, y'all.
He came back to life.
Oh, shit, that was good. You caught that.
Wu-Tang is
That was good.
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang. Oh, shit. Jay, what you got as a score? What you got for your score?
Man, I got a blowout. I got 35-17.
No
I
29.
just think that huh?
Dolphins? You picking the Dolphins?
29?
Not a chance, bro. Not a chance. Flores is I don't know. He's like, I don't know what's going on. I think that that all of the praise was a little preemptive because the moment I hear everybody start saying he's such a great guy and a great organizer of men, now I start seeing stuff that I don't understand.
Yeah, they're in perfect. I think they're in perfect scenarios. He's, you know what I'm saying? He's that. I like him, but what you got? So what was your score? What was your score?
35-17 Baltimore.
35-17. AK, what's your score? What you got?
I'm going to continue to root against the Miami Dolphins because the Philadelphia Eagles have their first pick in the draft. So let's get that up to number 2 pick of some sort. I don't think they're equipped. I would like for Tua to succeed. I just don't think he's a legit top 15 or 20 NFL starting quarterback. I think Lamar Jackson is an absolute animal. I'm going to go 27-13. I'm going to go Baltimore. I'm going to bet my suit on this score. And yeah, I mean, my score will be correct because I came looking like an old school NFL coach. So.
You look like a GM. You look like a general manager.
Newton for shutting the fuck up, taking his COVID shot, and getting back in the league, yo.
You saw that shit, bro?
Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
They're gonna have to run RPO, man.
He got some.
Kyrie
He's on the shot.
take him off the group
Yeah.
chat or what?
You said what? What'd you say?
I said, did Kyrie and Aaron Rodgers take him off the group chat?
I know, right? You're done. You're out of here. What do you call it? Yeah, with him, what do you call it? I think they're in a better situation. The thing about Donald is has a very low football IQ. I don't care what anybody says. His IQ is very low when it comes to the NFL, bro. He's ghost.
He sucks.
And now we're realizing it wasn't just a jet thing.
No, he sucks.
I mean,
also,
he can't even fully fracture his shoulder. He's just a head fracture.
that's hilarious. That shit was so funny. This guy can't even finish that. He can't even complete that. What do you call it? Okay, so first and foremost, I want to apologize to you guys for getting you all gassed up about the Jets last week. That's first.
Yeah, bro.
Because we fucking shit the bed.
Not Pablo. Not us.
We completely shit the bed. All right. Mike White.
Well, hold up. We got an excuse. It was mental health, bro. It was mental health that way, man.
Well, I'm going with that. I'm rocking with that. All right. Tonight's game. I like
that Sam Darnold sees ghosts and Cam Newton dresses like ghosts from Beetlejuice.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's fucking funny. He dresses like a fucking old lady ghost. All right. So my prediction for tonight. I don't think they keep it close. I think off the bat the running game is too much, and that's the weakness of the Dolphins. Where last year it was a strength. Their defense this year, it's a weakness, man. Their front seven is, oh my God, they give up yards bunches, man. They just get run over. So, and I think that's the strength of I think by halftime this is out of hand. Yeah, the Ravens have it out of hand. I think 32-17 Ravens. Yeah, 32-17 Ravens, and look for something electric.
By the way, AK, you look more like an agent.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Hey, I need you to talk to me.
Did you guys see the meme?
You should
see the meme about the Lions, that the Lions lost to the bye week?
Yeah.
Oh, bro, did you see that chart? Did you see the chart that I put up? Yeah, I put up a freaking chart and it put the players down and it said these teams, at least they're not the Lions.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, fuck, bro.
Yo, but
That shit was hilarious.
the one with the
bye
Bills.
week's 1-8. The only victory the bye week has is against the Lions.
Oh, that shit is terrible, man. Oh, keep telling me how they fight so hard. I don't give a shit. You ain't got no wins. Yo, and with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Sports is Our Love Language podcast. Man, another great show, another good time, fellas. Enjoy the game.
Javi, what
AK
happened
is
to
gonna be
James
out.
Rodriguez, man?
He's on the bench, bro.
Why?
Because we got to be defensive, bro. We're in Brazil tonight, man.
Oh, so we need that.
You know.
All right, fellas.
That's it.
Let me check us out so that people can go watch the football game. We got a prediction. Jen says 28-17 Ravens.
Okay.
What do you call it? Yeah, her husband's a lifelong Jet fan. Sorry about that.
And everybody
That's
listen to
how it works.
Javi's advice. Whenever you go to Brazil, make sure you go defensive with protection.
Defensive with protection. And check below the belt. You know, I don't know if a lot of people will get that one. Check below the belt. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, this is in the Sports is My Love Language podcast, and we are out of here. Peace out, fellas.